Guys, our main story tonight is on AstroTurf, also known as turf bugs, which are like bed bugs, but far less sexy. It's a synthetic material made from tires used to mimic grass fields across America. And you probably noticed that stuff on our intramural fields, or that thing that gave you road rash, or this shit you found up your butt like 6 hours after PE ended. And maybe you're still finding them all over you, but recent research has shown that those aren't the only long-term effects from these little black butt clingers. Amy Griffin is a women's soccer coach at the University of Washington, and she started to notice a pattern of cancer in her players. And that's right, cancer. Now, I know what you're thinking. Why are we even talking about women's sports? I know. Okay, no one even watches women's soccer, and honestly, it's not like the US women's soccer team ever even wins anything. But hear me out, seriously. Griffin kept a list of all the players she could find that had cancer. But out of those 38 soccer players with cancer, 34 of them are goalkeepers. That's ludicrous. And this soccer thing is crazy too. Now, I did the math. And it took me a long time, but I did it. And I had a lot of help, but I did it. Almost 90% of these players are goalkeepers. And the pattern is happening. I know, it's complex, but I did it. Like, I'm awesome. This pattern is happening all over the place. So unless Nike is lining their goalie gloves with lead, we have a problem. And you see, the thing about these goalies is that they spend so much of their time belly flopping onto these chocolate sprinkles. It gets in their eyes, it gets in their open wounds, and they inhale it and ingest it. But how could these little chocolate death sprinkles be causing so much damage? And we're finding some shocking things about these artificial turf fields. Take a look.
There's something like 27 chemicals of concern, 11 of which are carcinogenic: mercury, arsenic, cadmium, chromium, lead.
Whoa, mercury, arsenic, cadmium, chromium, lead? The 5 worst flavors at Baskin-Robbins? Turf bugs are to sports what glitter is to arts and crafts. This shit gets everywhere. And let's not forget that these little deer poops are on playgrounds and sports fields and intramural fields on campuses everywhere. And last time I checked, these weren't the chill chemicals in children's toys, like the gunpowder Etch-a-Sketch or the uranium-powered Easy Bake Oven, which we all had. Okay, so getting rid of tires is a bitch. The question is, who hates them enough to shave them down like George Sanderson and spread them across America? And if you don't know who George Sanderson is, you didn't have a childhood. That's at 2319. Check it out.
From rubber was introduced in the mid-90s, after the Environmental Protection Agency was looking for a way to dispose of used tires.
Ooh, okay, all right. So this is the Environmental Protection Agency's idea, which is good. But this kind of feels like when my grandma used to give me her unfinished cigarettes. Like she knew it was bad for me. It was like, nah, he's young, he won't fucking know. We don't hang out with grandma anymore. The EPA, they know what's going on, so they're gonna do something about these baby anal beads, right? I just read what's on the teleprompter. Suzanne Worthy is a former toxicologist for the EPA, and she began to notice a pattern of health risks to children. And former toxicologist, that kind of sounds like the backstory of a Batman villain. What are you hiding, Suzanne? Did Wayne Enterprises bankrupt your poor Russian father and force him to gamble on cockfighting, which only led to crippling debt and his eventual murder by Don Falcone, which, he forced you to watch while hiding underneath your bed? And maybe I'm going too far into that. But regardless, her office sent the EPA headquarters a memo concerning the potential effects of synthetic turf. Their response?
They were angry. given for the good work on figuring out what to do with tires.
The memo stated that children's chronic, repeated exposure to tire crumb could present health hazards. Ultimately, the EPA decided not to investigate health effects.
Ooh, yikes. Okay, so the EPA doesn't give a shit. Which they're supposed to, but someone has to. And have no fear, guys. The Synthetic Turf Council is here to research and regulate the turf field industry. So they're a team dedicated to the safety of turf fields. Okay, awesome. Let's see who's on the Synthetic Turf Council. Of these 10 names, 8 of which are turf companies, Heavenly Greens and Progress seem like shitty brands of medical marijuana. And our best guess is that Boner Yarns is an erotic knitting store. But honest to God, I was just too afraid to look it up. You can't unsee that shit. So clearly no one on the council has any sort of bias as to the outcome of AstroTurf safety. You can totally trust them, just like you can totally trust that Nigerian prince you keep getting those emails from. And we'd also like to mention that safehealthyplayingfields.org is a website dedicated to finding a safe alternative to turf fields. Feel free to check it out. But beware, if you go to safehealthyplayingfields.com, you'll be redirected to the Synthetic Turf Council's website, which is like the cheapest move since Gus's stucco repair bought pornhun.com. Come on, seriously, guys? Honestly, this whole situation is trash, but only if that trash was actually just a pile of tires that we shredded up and put on a playground. And we have to ask ourselves whether or not the risk is worth it. So what can we do about it? This is America. I propose that we set the fucking turf fields on fire, baby. Woo! Burn it up! Or we can do it diplomatically. Totally works too, but far less exciting. Click the link below to sign a petition to ensure that the White House addresses the safety of these things. With legislation, we can make them safe for kids to play with. You know, like guns.